Hello and welcome back. As always, my name is Laser, and today we're gonna review NieR Automata or Automata, whatever you guys wanna call it. But first things first, you should know that by this point I got about 100 hours played in Automata. Meaning what? Well, I didn't spend 100 hours in a game I didn't like. From the get-go, I'm gonna let you know that I do recommend this game and I do believe it's a wonderful addition to your gaming collection. However, it's not without its fault, and we're gonna talk in great detail about the pluses and the minuses. The first thing I want to talk about is how the game runs. I have played it on PC. I have the PC version via Steam, which is a port from PS4. Now there are some issues here. You have some crashes, some glitches, frame drops, etc, etc. Needless to say, the port is nowhere near perfect, and perhaps the biggest problem is the fact that you cannot run NieR Automata in full screen 1080p. When you try to do this, what most users get is black borders on the side and an actual resolution of 900p. The game has been out on Steam a little bit over 3 months now, and Square Enix flat out ignores this issue, and that's a little bit disturbing. Thankfully, we are PC gamers, and being PC gamers, we have a fairly potent modding community. There is a modder, I think K-Mods or something like that, that came up with a wonderful little mod that fixes this issue. So you're gonna be able to run NieR Automata in 1080p, full screen, real 1080p, and I'm gonna link in the video description this mod if you're interested in. However, just because a mod came out that kind of fixes the glitch and the mod is nowhere near perfect, it doesn't mean that Square Enix shouldn't address this and come out with a patch. Again, the game has been out on Steam 3 months plus. Enough is enough. That being said, that's kind of where my gripes with Automata end. Moving on into graphics. First up, it's environment graphics. When it comes to this aspect, NieR Automata is not a very special AAA $60 release. I gotta say, some textures are quite laughable, like they were back in 1999. However, there are parts of the world which definitely come to life and give you that authenticity feeling, like you're in a very special world. So I'm not sure how to classify them. Again, I keep thinking of the fact that this is a AAA release. I'm paying $60, so I should get that amount of quality. It is open world, kinda, I want to say. But for example, if I compare it to something like The Witcher, because I keep going back to The Witcher as my benchmark for stellar RPGs, is a little bit low-key, okay? The environment doesn't shine that much. Again, there are parts which definitely blossom, come to life, especially at the start when you're standing on top of the building and looking at the desolated world. It's hard for a desert to take your breath away, isn't it? I mean, you've seen one desert, you've seen them all. And the ruined city, well, it's just that. It's a bunch of ruins, so it's pretty hard to classify the environment graphics when it comes to these zones. There's also a third zone, a forest zone for the most part, and again, don't look too close at those textures. You're not gonna like what you're gonna see. Thankfully, the characters are absolutely outstanding. The resolution, the textures, the physics, and oh my lord, the animations. The animations for the main characters are absolutely breathtaking, done extremely well. High frame rate, high fidelity, they look absolutely gorgeous. From 2B to 9S to A2, the animations are done absolutely spectacular, and there's plenty of them. There's plenty of references in their moves. If you guys played games like Bayonetta or Devil May Cry, you're even gonna recognize parts of some moves they do. Absolutely awesome. 10 out of 10 when it comes to the animations. The game has a pretty clear anime style to it. Now, if this was an anime, I would classify it, or rather it would be classified as a drama, ecchi romance, I want to say, kind of anime, because yes, it is a little bit over sexualized. You even have the option of taking the skirt off of the main protagonist. You gotta hold down left and right stick to self-destruct. Don't worry, you're not gonna die. And that leads me nicely into the story of NieR Automata. What is it all about? Square Enix says that it's the story of two androids, 2B and 9S, but that is a bit of a lie, which is good that they told it like that in retrospect, but that doesn't matter. I'm not gonna spoil any of the story. I will tell you though that the game tackles mature topics such as well, existential problems for the most part. What does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to have free will? What is the difference between machines and humans as long as they develop emotions? What is an emotion, etc, etc. Obviously, some of these topics are just gonna fly right by some people, and that's totally fine. For those kind of guys, we got plenty of hacking and slashing to go around. Mindless killings of machines, so there's no problem there. You don't have to go into these topics, you don't have to think about them, but you do have that option, which I love that NieR Automata gives you that option. Speaking of options, in an RPG, in modern RPGs at least, we like to have an impact on the story, don't we? We want to have a certain degree of choice, and in retrospect, after 100 hours, I gotta say, Automata has very little choice. For the most part, you're on rails. It is an open world. You do have the option of completing side quest A or not completing side quest A. But to be honest, the resolutions, while they are many, they're for the most part on rails, and that bothers me just a tiny little bit. Was the story satisfying? Did I enjoy it? Well, naturally that's a subjective matter, but yes, I loved the story in Automata, and I would like to point out that in order for you to get the full plot, you need to play through the game at least 3 times. Yes, from start to finish, you will need to play it 3 times. I don't want to tell you anymore because that would be spoiling. Now, the game has various endings, 26 I believe, but keep in mind there are only 4 major endings, A, B, C, and D. You should shoot for ending D. Without giving you any spoilers, let me give you a tip. Never give up and always ask for help. And don't worry, you're gonna know what I mean when it hits you.
Why? Why did you betray us?
Command is the one that betrayed you.
So yes, I love the story in Automata, so much so that I wish I could erase my memories of it so I can play it again. Yes, it was really that good. But again, this is just my 2 cents on the matter. As for the rest of the endings, well, they're jokes for the most part. Obvious bad choices which you shouldn't make, which will end the game immediately. But don't worry, you can load up your save file and continue the game. In total, like I said, I think there are 26 endings, but only 4 major ones. Now let's talk about the gameplay in Automata. It's a very interesting mix between a spectacle fighter / hack and slash, a bullet hell, and a platformer. It's not the first time a developer tries to mix multiple genres together, but from my point of view it's the first time when it's done so well, so fluid and so natural. In a matter of a second, the camera shifts perspective, and what's more impressive is the fact that you get to play all these genres using the same moves that apply to multiple situations, multiple scenarios. Again, the camera will shift in under a second, and all of a sudden you went from a hack and slash to a bullet hell, and now all of a sudden you're platforming. It's absolutely wonderful that they managed to achieve this in such a fluid and natural way, and the fact that you get to use the same moves and that they apply in many different genres. Again, I think the way they did it is absolutely phenomenal, and I hope to see this example of gameplay being used in future games as well. Because basically you're not getting a type of combat, you're not getting just a spectacle fighter hack and slash, you're getting all 3 into one, and depending on what playthrough you're in, there are different accents on different types of gameplay. For example, the first part is heavily dependent on hack and slash. It does have a little bit of platforming into it, absolutely, a little bit of bullet hell, but for example the second playthrough, it's a whole lot more accentuated on the bullet hell side of things. Definitely loving what they did with Automata when it comes to gameplay. Now let's take all 3 of them apart piece by piece. We got our hack and slash, which from my point of view is the most predominant in the entire game. This is what you do in the open world when you traverse the ruins and you kill a whole bunch of machines. It's the hack and slash. You got plenty of weapons to go around. The main character of the story, 2B, can use 2 types of weapon, a light weapon and a heavy weapon, but you also have spears and fist weapons as well. Depending on how you arrange these in your inventory, because you have a light attack spot and a heavy attack spot. Each and every single weapons have a different amount of light attacks it can do and a different amount of heavy attacks it can do, not counting of course specific damage and effects and etc, etc. Depending how you arrange these on your equipment, you're gonna be able to do all sorts of moves and all sorts of combos. When it comes to the second playthrough, these are a little bit more limited. Like I said, the second playthrough is a whole lot more dependent on the bullet hell side of things, but the first one is entirely on the hack and slash. Of course, these weapons can be upgraded using various materials you can purchase from vendors or you find throughout the world. And again, upgrading these weapons to the final level, which is not entirely easy because you need to find a very special crafter, will grant them special effects. For example, a set of weapons start glowing very cool, and that glow means that the weapon will do increased damage for a set amount of time. I love it. I absolutely love it. There's plenty of weapons for you to find in the world, and here's a bit of a tip. When you manage to upgrade all of the weapons in the game to their level 4, because that is the highest you can upgrade them at, you will trigger a very special event. Your hack and slash is also aided by your small little pod. Now these pods, just like your weapons, can be upgraded, and they're a huge help because you can use your pod fire, depending on what type of pod you have, of course, while you're actually doing your normal hack and slash combat. So it's added, and many boss fights require you to use both of these in tandem, which is absolutely awesome. Again, they can be upgraded. Please keep in mind that these pods will be upgraded mostly late game, when you get to your late game, because of the materials necessary. Unless you want to farm specific zones, which I don't really recommend because it kind of cuts away from the fun. Let them be upgraded towards late game because you're not going to need those upgrades until late game anyway. The upgrades are not flat out, look, it does more damage. No, for example, for your main pod, the one which has a Gatling equip, it will add 2 types of mortar fire, again depending on how much you upgrade it, and of course the usual increase in damage. So the addition of the pods is absolutely awesome. This is also what you use in some of the bullet hell sections. Speaking of the bullet hell, there are some nice bullet hell encounters during your first playthrough. However, these are a whole lot more accentuated during your second playthrough. To make a long story very short, in order to defeat some enemies, you're gonna have to hack them. Once you hack them, you have to play a mini bullet hell game. Depending on how difficult the target is to hack, the difficulty of the level will also increase, and they will become a whole lot more intricate and entertaining. And that's how you get your diversity for the bullet hell. Again, it's fairly potent in your second playthrough and a whole lot less during your first playthrough. As for your third playthrough, I don't want to talk about that at all because it would contain major spoilers, but I want to talk a little bit about the third gameplay aspect, and that is the platformer. The platforming sections in Automata are few and far between. Out of the 3, the platformer got the least amount of love. I love that they're there, it breaks up the gameplay a little bit quite nicely. I just wish they did it a little bit more than they have. Anyway, overall, I love the gameplay, I love this mix and mash of different genres, and I hope that a whole lot more games will pick up the example that Square Enix set, at least for the gameplay, if not for their customer support. There are a couple of more topics I want to touch on. First will be the crafting system. It's not really a crafting system, it's more of a resource gathering system. Throughout the open world, you're gonna find all sorts of materials from gold ore to broken arms, which you're gonna use to upgrade your gear. And by your gear, I mean your weapons and your little pod as well. The pod can also be equipped with a very special program which adds a special move, stuff like a laser or a bombardment or a big ass hammer that will smash your enemies. Again, this adds to the gameplay and its variety. Also, you're gonna be able to find a whole bunch of plug-in chips. Plug-in chips are used to enhance yourself, your own body, and the effects vary from flat out damage mitigation to effects such as lifesteal or better movement speed, etc, etc. So again, the plug-in chips together with your own weapons and their upgrades together with the pod and its programs can make for some very interesting builds. For example, my favorite build is a high attack speed with fist weapons crit build, which offers, well, mediocre results, but it's fun to play. Again, there's a whole lot of gameplay depth when it comes to mixing all these aspects together. Now let's move on to the traversal system. There's a couple of different ways you can traverse the world of Automata. First off will be the parkour system. Yes, climbing on buildings, cars, jumping off of high ledges, etc, etc. All of the characters possess the same type of traversal moves. So if a character can leap off a certain building and land on another building, all of the characters are gonna be able to do that. However, not all of the characters can access all of the chests. So if you're a completionist that wants to find 100% of the secrets, of the weapons, of the data on the world, you're gonna have to do some backtracking. For example, 9S can open certain boxes that 2B cannot. However, it's not vice versa. That being said, there are a couple of different ways to traverse the world. Halfway through your first playthrough, you're gonna unlock a quick travel system between various checkpoints, which first you need to find, and then you're gonna be able to access for the rest of your playthrough, so they're not gonna become inactive for no reason. Lastly, you have a mount system. You're gonna be able to ride the animals of the world. The way you do this is fairly simple. You pick up animal bait from a vendor, you put it on the ground, the animal eats it, well, try to put it near the animal at least, and then it's gonna let you ride it for a set amount of time. If you dismount, you're gonna have to feed it again and ride again. However, later in the game, you're gonna be able to pick up an item that allows you to skip this whole process and just ride wherever the hell you want. So the traversal system starts off slow and it's kinda dull and boring to keep running from one place to another, but the further the game progresses, the easier it gets. And the final aspect I want to touch on is the DLC. Currently we have one DLC for NieR Automata priced at $14 full price. And I gotta say, I picked it up, and to be frank with you guys, it's not worth the money. It adds a few arenas, a few challenges, okay? It adds a whole bunch of enemies. The challenges are stacked depending on level, from level 25 to 35, 60, 99, which is the max level. And you get various different rewards, including a very interesting outfit for 2B, which is, to be honest with you, the only reason I picked up the damn DLC in the first place. It's not worth the money, okay? The amount of content it introduces and the quest, while charming, it's still not worth $14. If you can get this one for a 50% off sale, then absolutely go for it. If not, it doesn't add anything to the plot, to the story, and in my humble opinion, it's not worth the money. And finally, we reach the conclusion part of the review, so allow me to summarize. We have an anime-style RPG with an absolutely enchanting drama-style storyline, rock-solid gameplay, absolutely phenomenal soundtrack, and the graphics, well, the character graphics and their animations are absolutely top-notch, but the environment is kinda meh for the most part. But we also have some technical issues on PC. 500,000 sales are not enough for Square Enix to get off its ass. That's a little bit sad, but it won't stop me from recommending a good game. Hopefully when NieR Automata reaches 1 million sales, Square Enix will release a patch. If you have the option between buying it on PC or PS4, then I am forced to recommend the PS4 version because as far as I know, that version does not suffer from the same technical issues. As always, my name has been Leyzar. Thank you guys for watching. Like, favorite, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed the content. If you already played NieR Automata, let me know in the comment section down below what are your thoughts on the game. I'm off. Bye bye everybody. Bye bye.